Hey guys, this video tells how to prevent getting a big loss, especially like overnight trading. And I've made some mistakes, and I've learned some things. Not really mistakes, but things I wasn't aware of. My last video I talked about after hour trading, and I just wanted to clarify that a little bit more because about a month ago I made a video on how you could make some good money on after hour trading, but it is risky, and I've since stopped doing that because it can go really good, but if you get one big loss, man, it's really a bummer. You're kind of bumming out. I kind of bum out about stuff like that. So I don't like losing. I don't like losing. I don't mind losing a little, but I hate losing big. You know, if you lose a $600 to $1,000, that's huge. And so if you're making like $200 a day normally, and you take a $1,000 hit, it'll take you a week to recover that. That's like the extreme. You know, typically maybe more like you'll lose a $600 thing, and then it might take you a week to recover. So, anyways, what this shows, these gray lines here, is after hour trading. So, and you can take a look at, like, this is, you can see the cursor here, that's the end of one day, trading day, and then right there is the beginning of the next. And you can see there's some stuff going on in between. Okay, so this is a stock that you should avoid trading because you can see all the trading that's done. We went through this last video too. You can have some little days where you only have one or two or three or four trades a night, overnight after hours, but that's okay to get stocks like that. But you can see that these wide bands here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, arguably 6, 7 wide bands in a 10-day period. 7 of the 10 days are after hour trading is kind of heavy. I know some stocks have way more heavy than this, but to me this is heavy. As a comparison, here's another stock, and you can see in its 10-day period, you have, maybe this might be sort of wide. So one of the 10 days is wide. So now you can kind of compare the two. You can see the upper stock here called Sogo, right? The gray bands are a lot wider than this bottom stock, PVTL. It just so happens, okay, I chose to show you these stocks because on both of these stocks I had losses, pretty big losses in overnight trading. This first stock, Sogo, I should never traded it because of all this after-hour trading. This was actually about 3 weeks ago, before I started trying to come up with a strategy to prevent losses. So I would have, now I don't trade these after-hour stocks anymore that have these big bands, so this wouldn't have happened. Second one is down here. You look at this wide band. How do you predict that a wide band will happen? Well, I mean, a lot of times you can't. But you say, well, this is a wide band here. This one I could have predicted. So my mistake was this dashed line. See this dashed line? That's called expiration Friday. I don't understand it totally. It has something to do with options, which I don't trade options. I can't even give you a good explanation what options are, but because of options, the options affected the price of the stock. Long time ago, I did a Facebook post on expiration Friday to not trade on this, and then I kind of forgot about it. Expiration Friday comes once a month. In fact, it comes the third Friday of the month. So I'm going to start making a policy not to trade on expiration Friday. Until I can figure it out more. And so now I want to, the problem is about getting a reminder and forgetting about it again. So I've set up my Yahoo Mail that the day or two before expiration Friday, it'll send me a text message saying, don't trade on Friday. I know you can do calendar programs to do that in your cell phone as well. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk about this SOGO here to emphasize a little bit more why it was such a bad trade. I mean, obviously after our tradings was it, but I wanted to show you what actually happened. I entered up here to do a short. Actually, it wasn't a short sale. This was wrong. It was a long buy. And what happened was, I entered here like normal at the end of the day. Then the after hours came, and one thing I didn't have is a stop loss. And the reason I didn't have a stop loss in here was because you can't put stop losses after hours. I know it's crazy. They say you can only do is put a limit switch in there, a limit order. But the problem with the limit order, if it's any price at the limit or above, it'll sell. So I put a stop loss on this order here, but it doesn't apply for after hours. It only applies over here. So if on this particular case, if you didn't have all this after hour activity during, say you had no after hour activity, then when the price opened up down here, I think opening was right there. It would have hit the it would have hit it, and my stop loss, and I would have made like about a 5% loss, which is devastating. So like I'm trading like $20,000, and a 5% loss would have been $1,000, right? That's actually what happened. I lost $1,000 that day, and that's why I'm like, I gotta change, change my strategy. So what could have I done? Well, one thing I could have done is, and I've learned about this since, is called a contingency order, which I'll talk about next. But what I should have done was put a contingency order for a 3% loss here. So then I would have only lost $600. $600 is big, but not as big as $1,000, obviously. I make normal trading. I make roughly $200, somewhere between $100 and $300 a day. So this could be about a three day setback, which isn't terrible. This would be more like a 5-day setback, which is terrible. So that's why, but 3% is sort of a compromise. So you're looking for stocks that normally don't trade any after hours, but you can't find. You have to. Most stocks have after hour trading of some sort. Might be, this is that little dash candle. You might don't, but you're trying to find stocks that only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles max, and those are stocks that normally have like only a 1% or 2%, 3% at most. If you hit 3%, you'd have a contingency order to take care of that. Well, I hope that makes sense. This is my stock program, not really my program, Yahoo Mail. This is the calendar part of Yahoo Mail, and you click on the day and you say 8 a.m. Basically expiration Friday, no trades ? So right now, I don't think I should trade. This will come out Thursday. I'll get a text message. Like I said, you can do it on your cell phone too. So I guess in summary, how to prevent after-hour losses. Okay, you're not going to totally prevent after-hour losses. There's another reason you could get after-hour losses, and I see this every once in a while. It's like at 5:30 in the morning. Okay, well, half hour before opening, this one stock this week, I can't remember its name, they made a news announcement that, and it was actually a good announcement, and so the stock soared during half hour before opening. Well, the problem is if you were going to short it the day before, like you'd entered the day before at closing, close to the end of the day, and you're planning on shorting it, and all of a sudden at half hour before opening bell, they make this news announcement that says it really, really good, and then the stock rises, and so that the news can actually happen too. And it can happen overnight. And if you watch YouTube videos, that's the biggest thing that they talk about. The biggest danger for after-hour trading is overnight news. Is what are some of the changes that reasons why overnight trading is so volatile. So because most day traders, or most traders at all, they aren't trading overnight. They're sleeping. So or whatever. So the fake media or the real media, whatever you want to call it, those are the bad guys in this case, because they should just keep their mouth shut overnight. But of course, that in the evening, whatever. So all right, how to prevent after-hour loss. So find stocks with a minimum of after-hour trading. This means 1 to 4 after-hour candles, a day. Look for stocks that have only one of these candles. It's like 1 or 2% price change in price. On earnings day, just don't even trade. Set up a contingency order, which I'll go into a little bit later. And another thing is to learn how to day trade for the first 30 minutes of the day. So that's, in other words, the stock in the situations a lot of times occurs is where you put in your order to exit, and the price isn't met, but yet the stop loss limit hasn't met either. So it's a little bit in limbo land. Like, what do you do? Some people just let it ride until one of your limits hits. The other thing you could do is learn to day trade, and so I started to develop a day trade program. So in other words, you look at the day trade indicators and say, it's going to go up still. So even though it hasn't hit my limit yet, might say the stock's going to go up, and then you wait for the stock to go up and it hit your limit, or come close, and then you say, the indicators say it's going to go down, but you're only going to lose $50 for the day. And you say, okay, well that's better than hit my stop loss of 300, so I'm good with that. So that's the day trade option. Also, it's really, day trading seems like it's really good for other situations. It's like if you can trade if you have time to trade for 30 minutes of the day, out here in the West, that's like up until 7 o'clock or 7 in the morning. That would be you might not start work till 7, so you could trade for 30 minutes. That's when the biggest spikes are, so you could take advantage of that if you don't know how to day trade. So instead of getting your normal 0.5% 0.5% profit, you might get a 1% profit if you learn how to day trade on the 1 minute time scale. But that's the rest of that is for a different video. Don't trade on expiration Friday, and set up a calendar to remind you. So, well, I hope that's helpful. This is my strategy to stop the big stop losses for after-hour trading. Thanks, guys. Hope this was helpful. Bye.